Y'all know every episode of Family or Fiancé, somebody gonna jump up from that table if they don't do nothing else. But they got her to come back. She done run all outside like they usually do, or to the kitchen. So hey everybody, welcome back to the Brandy Yvonne channel. Of course, I'm your girl, Brandy Yvonne. Here on my channel, we do fun reviews, recaps, and discussions of all of our favorite shows. This video, we are talking Owns, Family or Fiancé. This is season 3, episode 9, Laterrica and Omar Grandma Drama. Before we get into anything, please click that thumbs up button. Y'all really been clicking it lately. I appreciate it. Keep on clicking it if you like the video. Okay, also don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you are enjoying the content so you can get better notifications of when I do upload more videos. Also, don't forget to share and comment. Let me know what you thought of this week's episode. Let me know what you thought of the review. Let me know that you subscribe. Let me know what's going on with you. But anyway, yeah, I appreciate all the support, y'all. I really do. So, sorry, y'all, this video is a little late. I ended up taking me a little nap after church. Y'all know how that goes. So anyway, eat when sleep. Okay, so let's get into the review. So this episode was good. Like, it had the drama. It felt like they did the work. The little after show recap was good. Like the updates was good. So I like this episode. It was definitely less heavy than last week's episode, and I don't know these people this week, y'all. Thank God. So, because that started a whole thing, okay? Anywho, if y'all didn't see my review from last week with last week's Family or Fiancé with Bridget and Andre, please go watch it. After you watch this, go watch that. Watch all the reviews, okay? So anyway, let's get into the review, y'all. So we have Laterrica. Does she go by Erica for short? I know her mama called her Terry because anyway, Laterrica and Omar, they come and they said, you know, Laterrica's nervous. She's like, I need a drink. They worried about all the issues going on. They met at a restaurant. And then I think they've been together for like 3 years. They had a baby named Penelope, somewhere in between that. And he proposed by putting a little baby onesie on the baby. That was cute. Saying, Mommy, we marry Daddy. That was real cute to me. They seem to have a good relationship, seems like, but she's worried because of the relationship he has with his mom. You know, he said things like he will put his mom before her if he has to choose, which is a no-no. It was giving a little bit of mama's boy for me. So, you know, they get there. They're hoping issues can get resolved. You know how y'all know a couple talk before they get there. So then they get there. Miss Tracy greets them. I was going to call her Dr. Tracy, but I know she's not a doctor, but she should be, right? So they get there. You know, they go look at the house. They're like, oh, yeah, we can get used to this. They go meet with Tracy, and they tell her about the relationship and how they, you know, the baby and how he proposed and all that. And so... you know, Tracy's asking them about their concerns. Laterrica's concerned about if he really loves her the way as much as she loves him, because she loves him a lot, and you can tell. And so she is concerned if Omar loves her the way that she loves him, because he has a really close relationship with his mom. So, I'm sorry, y'all. So close to the point that he, you know, financially supports his mom. He paying his mama rent, okay? And so... Laterrica feels like, you know, if we're supposed to be moving forward as a couple in a marriage relationship, like, you are basically taking money out the household to support somebody else that could be going in our household. Totally get it. I totally agree. So Tracy was like, well, that, you know, why? Tracy was asking her to, like, kind of elaborate why that is hurtful to her. And she explained basically what I just said. So Omar said that at the previous house they were living at, you know, he was paying her rent. And then I guess Miss Diane, this is Omar's mama, we gonna meet her, was going to move in with them and help with the baby. And then she decided not to. Well, okay, so Omar said it like, oh, then she said she wasn't gonna move. And ultimately I decided that it wasn't gonna be a good fit for the family. So Laterrica got upset because she felt like Miss Diane just didn't want to move in with her. And it seems like at first Laterrica and Diane did have a good relationship, and then things kind of started shifting somewhere. Did y'all get that drop down in the comments, did y'all feel that way as well? Because both of them said it started out okay, is what I thought. Because even Miss Diane said Laterrica would always come over for dinner and stuff. So then, what else happened? So, Omar was also, I'm not sure if he talked about it in that moment or later on in the episode about his father dying at age 8. And so ever since then, he's felt like he had to be responsible for this family, you know, help his mom, support his mom, and all that kind of good stuff. And he said he takes pride in financially supporting his mom. And so, and you could tell that's the case. So, you know, Tracy's asking how important is the blessing going to be? Like, what if you don't get it? And Laterrica's like, yeah, that would be really hurtful because, you know, I don't want him to have to feel like he has to choose between me and his mom. And it's, you know, it's just not going to go well because he's going to choose his mama. Okay, so from Laterrica's side, we have her mom coming. I forgot her mama name, y'all. Her friend, Nakia, and her brother, Craig. Hey, Craig. And so from the other side, we have Omar's family. Miss Diane, his mom is coming. His groomsman, I forgot his name, is coming. And his auntie, I can't think of the auntie's name, but she was ready to film. Was it Anita or Key? Something. It was something like that. Anyway, but auntie was ready to film. So, anyway, so they're coming. And so the brother, Craig, has concerns that, you know, they're not working on the same page and Omar's not putting Laterrica first and all this stuff. So they get to the house. First arrives Omar's family. And like Miss Diane, she embraces Laterrica and Omar and all that. And so they're in the kitchen. So the auntie's trying to tell Miss Diane, like, be cool, be patient, be kind, like, don't be tripping, you know, relax, all this stuff. And so, then Laterrica's family came. She's like, these my people. So she went over there. Laterrica came to film in her club outfit, by the way. I said, come through, Laterrica, with that bob and the blonde. So, excuse me, y'all. Then Laterrica brought her family to the kitchen. Everybody's like, hey. But instead of greeting everybody, she taking them through the tour of the house. Now, I feel like that was messy editing because I hope to shout, like my granny would say, that they walked their butt back in that kitchen and greeted them people properly and then just walked through and waved and that was it. Because that was looking a hot mess. Like, it was looking a little rude. Anyway, so then, you know, we sit down for the family meeting, right? Everybody voices their concerns. Laterrica's mom is concerned that, you know, Omar is still supporting Miss Diane's family. Miss Diane was looking pissed in that moment when they panned the camera to her. I think his best man is concerned, or his friend, I think he's the best man, is concerned that, you know, they're not being there for each other. And then the friend had her concerns as well. Everybody basically concerns was like them being there for each other and setting boundaries with Miss Diane and the money and all that. So we get to Omar's side, same basic concerns. Auntie had her concerns. Craig said talking about setting boundaries. Miss Diane said her number one concern is the daughter Penelope. She don't really have a relationship with Penelope, and she also wanted to make it clear that everybody's saying that Omar is financially supporting me. He helped me out a few situations, but he is not supporting me. Like, that was it. He just helped me out a few situations. So then Laterrica was like, well, then that is a lie because I've been going to the store with Omar plenty of times getting money orders to pay y'all rent. And so I was like, ooh, like, okay. So I was glad Laterrica called Miss Diane out. However, I was like, ooh, please don't call this old lady a liar. Like, but she cleaned it up later on when she addressed it. She was like, I don't want to say you're a liar. However, the truth is, like, please do not call older person a liar. Like, do not do that. Like, I was raised not to do that. I don't know if y'all was raised not to do that, but you can say, you know, just say it a different way, but don't say you a lie. So, I don't think she was trying to she didn't mean no disrespect though. Laterrica, I had to give it to Laterrica. She was very respectful to Miss Diane pretty much the whole episode, but she also held her ground and held her own, and I appreciated that about her. So they, you know, went over, hashed it all out. So then they said they're gonna do their games with Omar is doing a game with Laterrica's family about you know, priorities, what comes first in his life. And so then Laterrica is doing a game with Omar's family called What If. So they go to do the games, right? And so let's go with Omar first. So instead of going back and forth, y'all, because you know that'd be getting annoying for me. So they were asking Omar, you know, how important is, you know, Laterrica and everything. And he was like, I try to make her feel like she is number one, but I know that, you know, there are things I could do better with that. And then they were also asking about how he is financially supporting his mom. And so he's like, I haven't helped them out since November. Like, it wasn't just me paying the rent. Like, my brother was contributing also. And now, like, the goal was to get to a point where they were doing things on their own and they didn't need me financially anymore. I kind of was like, well, what the heck was going on with these other grown people that they wasn't paying their rent? That's what I really wanted to know. So, but we can talk about that later, Miss Diane. So, and then they were like, okay, Laterrica. So the friend was like, well, Laterrica has explained it a different way. Like, everything you said about the finances and all this stuff, like, Laterrica has explained it a different way. And so they're like, yeah, this is not adding up. And so then he was like, well, the thing is, like, I'll tell Laterrica stuff and it's the truth. And it don't matter what I say. She gonna take it the way she gonna take it. So then the mom stood up for her daughter. I love this moment because the mom was like, no, my daughter's not like that. Like, my daughter's not gonna take stuff one way and turn it into something else to make sense in her head. Like, my daughter's not like that. Basically, my daughter's a logical, reasonable person. Like, she ain't tripping. Like, you tripping. And so she was like, the truth is the truth. Like, nobody can spin the truth. And so, thank you, mama. Like, she's not crazy. And I feel like y'all trying to make it like Laterrica was crazy a little bit. So, that's pretty much it with them, y'all, the highlights at least. Then let's go to Laterrica, Miss Diane. So, the auntie, you know, she's like, hoping this go well. She's doing her little confessional camps. And so then the auntie was asking about the whole situation with Penelope and the grandma and all that. And the grandma was saying she would get her grandma's rights if she had to. And so she was saying that Terrica was like, I never told you couldn't come see Penelope. Like, you can come. And so Miss Diane, I guess, came over one day, but it was like after Laterrica got home from having a baby, and Omar didn't tell him, like, tell her that everybody was coming over. And so she was like, you know, it's fine. She didn't care, but she was asleep the whole time they were there. So she didn't, you know, she didn't know everything that was going on. And so Miss Diane was like, you only got one time to make a bad impression with me. Side note, on Miss Diane's way to the mansion, Miss Diane said in the confessional that she's an old cat and she ain't gonna let no little kitten lick her in the butt. I said, Miss Diane, I don't know what the hell that means. I mean, we got an idea though. So anyway, back to where we was, right? So then the aunt also asked another good question. I just can't remember it right now. Maybe it'll come to me. So then they were talking about the whole living situation and Miss Diane not wanting to move in with them. And so Miss Diane said that was her thing. Like, she's like, no, I decided that I didn't want to move in with you guys. And so Laterrica was like, that's funny to me because, like, the way that Omar told me, it was like, it was his idea, but I felt like it could have came from you. And she was like, no, I ultimately decided I didn't want to move in. And so then Laterrica, you could tell, is getting really frustrated. And so then the grandma, I guess the aunt and the grandma were both talking about how, you know, what if things can go bad and, you know, Omar and his son, you know, Omar doesn't make it with his marriage. And Miss Diane said, you know, she hopes that it wouldn't come to that, like his life wouldn't go down that direction. But she's like, oh, well, life goes on. I was like, oh, Miss Diane. Miss Diane was not playing. And she was giving Della Reese. I see some people said that on Twitter. She was giving Della Reese tease. So Miss Diane just wasn't seeing it. The groomsman, he was just sitting there not saying nothing, really. The auntie and Miss Diane were the only ones asking questions. So then we get to the dinner table and rehash the day's events, right? And so I didn't see if they had spaghetti, y'all. Did they have spaghetti? Drop it down in the comments. I don't think they had spaghetti, but I didn't catch what the hell they was eating tonight. So then, you know, they sit down and Laterrica says she got more understanding after doing the task that Dr. Tracy asked him to do. She said she realized that the issues with, she thought it was more of issues with her and Miss Diane, but really it's issues with her and Omar. And so then Omar was looking like, huh? And so then she began to explain that, your mom was talking about her moving in. She said that she decided not to move in, not that you made it like it was your decision. And she's like, I always felt that it could have came from her and I feel some type of way. And so then he was like, no, ultimately, I pretty much made that decision. And so then she asked Auntie, didn't she say today that it was her idea not to move in? She's like, yes. And Ms. Diane said, yes, I prayed about it. God told me no. So I decided not to move in. So then he was like, oh, it doesn't matter. My mom says because I convinced her not to move in. And so Ms. Diane was like, it wasn't a convince. Like, it was my own decision. And so Omar was trying to make it like he is the one that orchestrated all that. Ms. Diane's like, I decided not to move in. Like, it had nothing to do with you, Omar. And so I feel like Omar does want to be his mom's husband in a way. Like, that's what he's giving. Like, I'm making all the things with my mom and my wife. And it's like, you can't be that. You can only be your mama's son. That's all you can be, sir. So then they get to fussing and fighting back and forth. Miss Diane is getting tired of it. Miss Diane decided, like, she ain't finna deal with all this. She about to get up from the table. They like, no, sit back down. We don't want you to do that. Y'all know every episode of Family or Fiancé, somebody gonna jump up from that table if they don't do nothing else. But they got her to come back. She done run all outside like they usually do, or to the kitchen. So then she's like, I ain't got to be nowhere. So then they got her to sit down. And she's like, well, I'm not gonna take you hollering in my ear no more, because Laterrica was sitting right next to Miss Diane, so Laterrica was like, I'm sorry, I'm not gonna holler in your ear no more. So then Laterrica got up, like, let me go to the head table, make my point clear. At the end of the day, like, I love Omar with all my heart. He is gonna be my husband. He is my everything. But, like, I'm not gonna do this back and forth thing, because she's like, Miss Diane saying one thing, Omar saying one thing, like, where is the truth? Excuse me. And so then she's like, at the end of the day, your mom is the one who decided to move, not to move in. It had nothing to do with you. And she was just like, Omar, like, like, get it together, Omar. So then Liz Diane was like, you know what, I'm moving to Texas next week anyway, so it doesn't even matter, and I'm not gonna be a part of this, and y'all ain't gonna be able to blame me and all this stuff. So then Laterrica's like, no, that's not what we want. Like, I want to move forward with you. I want a relationship with you. We're not, like, trying to shut you out or anything like that. And so then Miss Diane was like, no, that's it. Like, I'll move to Texas. That's all. And so she definitely was using that as a weapon of abandonment, like Tracy's gonna explain later on, right? So then after the dinner, Miss Diane was saying, I always wanted my son to be with somebody, but his girl Laterrica, she don't like me at all. She don't like me. And I'm like, she do like you, Miss Diane, or she wouldn't be working as hard to have a relationship with you, girl. So she likes Miss Diane because she loves Omar. That's what it is. So then Laterrica did pull Miss Diane to the side and said, like, I don't want you to move. Like, I don't want you to feel no type of way. Like, I do want a relationship with you. And Miss Diane was like, I'm always going to protect him and all this stuff. So they had a little heart-to-heart, but I don't think it really meant nothing. So then the next day, Dr. Tracy meets with the couple in her office like they always do. And so they talk about the task. And so Laterrica is explaining how Omar was trying to say that he is the one that asked Miss Diane not to move in, but even though it was Diane and all this stuff. And so Tracy begins to explain to Omar, like, you had to carry all this pain in this leadership role once you've seen your mom and all this hurt and pain when your dad passed away, and you're still operating as that 8-year-old boy. Like, you felt like you had to then step up and protect your mom, and so you're still operating from that. And so then Tracy brings up, didn't your mom threaten, like, to move to Texas or something? And he's like, yeah, but she not going to do that. And, oh, she knows, da-da-da. And then she's like, no, that's that's a form of abandonment. Like, she's threatening you. That's a way to get control and power over you. And so Omar begins to break down because I think he finally gets it. And so he definitely was operating from that little boy. He felt like he had to protect his mom. And, Dr. Tracy basically let him know, like, you have to, now be with your wife now and let your mom go. Like, you cannot be your mom's protector, your overseer, and all that. You have to be Laterrica's husband now. And so She let him know, like, I think it'd be a good idea to have a talk with your mom, and I can be here with you to do that if you would like. He said, yes, ma'am. And he was shedding tears. I felt so bad for him. And so then Laterrica also has a task to, like, Tracy wants Laterrica to just start over with Miss Diane, take her out to the flower shop. They look at the flowers for the wedding and just start fresh with her over again. But first, we're going to talk with Miss Diane. So Omar goes to grab Miss Diane and take her up there where Dr. Tracy's office is. It was a little walk, and it's all high on the mountain. I would be like, oh no, God. So anyway, they get in Dr. Tracy's office, and Dr. Tracy's basically explaining to Omar that, you need to set a boundary with your mom, and Omar needs to set a boundary with you. And Omar also let us know that Miss Diane lost her dad when she was a little kid as well. And so Omar began to explain to his mom that, he had some childhood pains from when his dad died, and he didn't even go, really get to cry it out. He didn't go to the funeral and all that stuff. And so she was like, yeah, we did definitely have our difficulties, when you were a kid, and we went through a lot. And so Tracy explained that, the grief from when you lost your husband is there, and it's activating the grief from when you lost your father. And so then Omar, as his little boy, he sees that, and he doesn't want you to feel bad, so he's been protecting you. But he has to let you go, he has to let you live your life. And so and you have to, like, let him go and grow up and do his own thing. And so she was like, when Omar is the man and the husband to the family, then you get the whole family. And so she was like, well, I want Omar to be happy. I want him to do all this. And she was like, the issue is here. And first, let me back up. Miss Diane was starting to cry about everything Tracy was saying, and so you could tell she was trying to hold it together. And Tracy told her, you could just let it out, like, you could let it flow. And she was like, no, I don't want to. I want to be strong. And she was like, you don't have to be strong here. But Miss Diane was still trying to be tough, but she was wiping them tears. And so she definitely needed that moment. Omar needed that moment. And so Miss Diane then begins to try to do this Jedi mind trick about the financials of it all, and it just wasn't working. She was like, no, the issue here is the finances, because, Omar was supporting me financially, and Laterrica didn't like that. But the thing is like, he's not supporting me anymore. He hasn't been supporting me in a while, and that's what it is. And so Tracy's like, no, that's not the deeper issue. That's like a surface level issue of what's going on. Like, that's not the deeper issue. And then she explains to her the deeper issue is you not letting go of your son. And she was like, didn't you threaten to go to Texas? And then she was like, and Tracy's like, can you have an honest moment here? Like, can you be honest? And then she was like, yeah, I could be honest right here in this moment. Yeah, I'm being honest. And she's like, well, I wasn't being honest about the Texas thing. And she was like, see, why'd you say this? She's like, oh, it's for my own sanity. And so then Tracy's like, no, it was a power move, power and control. And so then Diane wasn't getting it at first. And she was like, no, you're saying that as, okay, if you don't do what I like, I'm going to threaten to leave you. And you need to let the Omar know, especially the little 8-year-old Omar know that, hey, I'm not going to leave you and abandon you, because he already went through that with his daddy, right? And so, I don't know why I'm getting, family fiancé be having me going through it, okay? We need a Yana back, too. So, anyway, anywho, sorry, y'all. I don't know what that came from. So, then he was, he's sitting up there crying, and she, like, let him know, like, I'm not going to leave you. I'm not going nowhere. I'm going to be here. And so Grandma Diane was saying she want a relationship with Penelope. They're like, you going to get that. You going to get all of that, And then he's, like, letting her know, like, you're not losing anything. Neither of us is losing anything. We got to be there for each other. You're gaining a daughter. And so it seemed like everything went well. Miss Diane took her a minute, but she received everything well. So then now it's Laterrica's turn to take Miss Diane down to the flower shop. So she takes Miss Diane. She goes grab Miss Diane. She's like, I gotta go outside. And so then they get in the car. Miss Diane said, where are we going to see the witch doctor? I was like, Miss Diane, what in the world? Where are these people from? Do y'all know where they are from? Drop it in the comments if y'all know where they are from. They said they have like a Midwest or a Southern accent of some sort. But, oh my God, that Miss Diane, she was ready for TV too. She is TV gold. So anyway, Laterrica, Miss Diane go do the flowers. Laterrica said she was nervous for the task. And so the lady was like, okay, what are you guys looking for today? Laterrica said maybe like a wedding bouquet for me, the bride. This is my future mom-in-law. So she said, okay, y'all gonna make your own little bouquets. And so then Miss Diane said, can we take them with them? The white lady was like, sure. Like, duh, you gonna take them with you, Miss Diane? Yes, you are. So, oh my God, Miss Diane is funny to me. So then they get to making flowers and cutting them. Laterrica's like, well, how's yours go? And she's like, girl, I'm just going over here. And so Laterrica basically, you know, had a heart to heart with Miss Diane, letting her know that she wants a relationship with her. She wants her to have a relationship with her, with Penelope. You know, she didn't want to come between her and her son and all this stuff. And so Miss Diane said, you know, I love you and I want a relationship with you too. And I want to, you know, move forward with you as well. And she even opened her arms for a hug to Laterrica. And that was it was really a good, sweet moment. This episode was good all around. It was really, really good. So then, you know, we get back to the house and we get ready for the blessing ceremony. Of course, first Dr. Tracy meets with the couple one last time before we do that and asked them how everything went. And Omar said he didn't realize, you know, the issues he had to deal with, and he knows it's going to be some work ahead of him. It sounds like he's going to continue to get therapy and grief counseling. And Dr. Tracy made a really good point about grief that I liked. She said that grief is never ending. It's a process. You just learn to deal with it more lightly and more gracefully. And I can definitely see that. That's something I've been learning, especially with the loss of my grandma, like, was it 3 years ago now? So anyway, and then she asked Laterrica, like, you know, what concerns you have moving forward. She said she knows that she can't change Miss Diane, like she's going to be the way she is, and she has to figure out how not to get offended by things she doesn't say so easily, and, you know, continue to have a relationship with her and all that good stuff. And so they go have the blessing ceremony, and, you know, family does their typical thing. You know, when I first came here, I was concerned about this, but after being here a couple days, I give my blessing. So everyone gave their blessing. Everybody felt like they did good work in the last 3 days. Yeah, they did. They did. I can say that they did good work. They definitely got like a good launching pad. They just got to like keep it up, of course. And I definitely think Omar needs to go to some counseling. Miss Diane definitely needs to go to some counseling. So, and Laterrica and Omar need to go to some couples counseling for sure. So anyway, Miss Diane even gave her blessing. She was like, you always had my blessing. And she was like, you know, she gave Laterrica a compliment. She's like, you do a good job as a mom. And it was just good, y'all. It was beautiful. And they all hugged it out at the end. Everybody gave their blessing, like I said. I feel like everybody should have gave their blessing. It wasn't a thing where I was like, oh, why y'all get a blessing? It's like some of these couples, right? So then the updates at the end, y'all, it said that Laterrica and Miss Diane have developed a better relationship. They talk almost every day. Omar, Laterrica are working on their stuff, and Omar's no longer supporting his mom financially, thank God. And they're planning a small outdoor wedding for close friends and family coming up soon. So I thought it was a good episode. Let me know what y'all thought of this episode of Family or Fiancé. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and share. And I will talk to y'all soon. Bye.